Hello and welcome in, y'all. We got the post-game show for One Piece chapter 1141. So the way this works is that we're going to go through the full spoiler videos comment section and just see what people were hyped up about based on the description of the chapter. Keep in mind, the people who commented in this video have not seen the actual chapter or the images yet, so take that with a grain of salt. But yes, let's see what everybody was hyped up about going into 1141. And also all their theories. All right, so let's hop right in here. And the way this works is that we do start from the top and then just kind of work our way down through the list. So the first one says, Luffy to Zoro, you obviously don't eat your buddies. Meanwhile, Luffy to Chopper, when there's no rations, drooling emoji. Yeah, that was a gag back in the day. I don't think Luffy does that anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like that was just Drum Island, really. Drum Island and Alabasta. But after that, I think in Luffy's mind, he solidified that friends should not be eaten. It's funny that Chopper always gets that gag, huh? Because that actually happened back in Wano. Not with Luffy, but with Big Mom. Big Mom was like, red bean soup. I don't got it. And then she looks at Chopper and her mouth starts drooling. I think that's a good gag. I think we need to bring that back, actually. Maybe if we brought Chopper over to Loki, Loki would have eaten him too. I don't know, man. I don't know. The next comment says, Zoro, not fully unlocking a half-dead Loki is crazy. Not gonna lie. Shows how intimidating Loki is to anybody with common sense. And not just that, right? Not just is Loki the size of oars, as Zoro stated, but all the Giants of Elbaf have been saying that this guy is trouble. Even Scopper Gaban, right? Scopper, the guy that's over here, dodging Luffy, shoving keys down his throat, the guy that made Luffy go gear fifth and Zoro jump in as well. That guy said, hey, Loki will cause mass casualties here, right? If you don't trust the Giants of Elbaf, you gotta trust Scopper. Even though they don't know it's Scopper, Scopper's power level speaks volumes, right? And then plus we know that Shanks is the one who put Loki in chains in the first place, which again, more hype to Loki, right? So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I'm really glad that Zoro was the arbiter of common sense in this chapter. It's really refreshing to see. The next comment says, when you think about it, Hardin is insane for wanting a fire devil fruit while living on Elbaf. Oh yeah, because fires are Elbaf's greatest weakness, right? Because we had the Hagen village get destroyed. Yeah, here's the thing though. Maybe if Hardin had the fire Logia, he could also put out the fires. Like maybe if the tree caught fire, he would just be like suck it all in. I think that's possible, right? Like I don't think we've seen anybody do that yet. Wait. Good example. Not a Logia, but Mr. 3. Right, Mr. 3 gave people wax armor in Impel Down, and then the minute it got poisoned by Magellan, Mr. 3 sucked the wax back into his body. So maybe in a weird way, Hardin having the fire devil fruit would help save Elbaf. But another way to think about it is that Hardin really admires the sun god, and the closest you can get to the sun god is by having a fire Logia. So I don't blame him. It is crazy, right? Maybe one bad day Hardin just sets everything ablaze, but hopefully Hardin has better control than that. This is a classic fake out. Loki looks like he's about to attack everybody, but in reality, he's just picking up his hammer to get ready to fight the God Knights. Yeah, I actually agree with this. But here's the thing, going to the God Knights is going to be a huge hurdle because I doubt Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and the new Giant Warrior pirates are just gonna let him leave. Loki can't just pick up his hammer and say, hey, nice seeing you guys, but I'm gonna go fight Shamrock real quick, right? I don't think they're just gonna let him go. Will they even believe him? That's another question, right? Luffy and Zoro know that there's an intruder that looks like Shanks here, but they haven't met Shamrock, right? Road also knows, so I wonder if he told Garrett and the rest of them. I don't know. I wonder what Hardin knows. Does he know that there's a red-haired lookalike running around the building? Did Road divulge that information? Because if so, maybe Loki does convince them that, hey, we do need to take this guy down. This guy's actually kind of strong. He's a menace here. Again, I don't think Loki can really just do whatever he wants right now, though, just because he's chained up. It's a really crazy situation, and I've seen people saying that maybe the chains are nothing, right? Maybe Loki will be the first character in the series that breaks out of his sea stone chains, which would be crazy. I think that would be mad hype. Imagine next chapter, Zoro's like, hey, we got Loki. He's still chained up, and then Loki just smacks down the sea stone. Oh, yeah, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. Another thing, too, is that, since Shamrock and Gunko and the God Knights are in the Sun Realm, Loki would have to find a way up the tree. So maybe he'd have to take the lift, or maybe if his hammer works just like Thor's hammer, maybe he could just fly away with it. That'd be pretty cool too. That'd be pretty cool. Scary, right? Because he is, the size of oars apparently? Yeah, I don't want to see him flying. This one says, I have a feeling Oda is emphasizing a parallel between Loki and Yorl. Zoro kicks the wound to make sure they're real, which is what Usopp did, right? Yeah. Usopp hits Jarl's sword in his head injury. Loki is described as a liar and deceiving, but Mosa was telling Loki that they can sense that there is some kindness in his heart. What if he's telling the truth and Jarl actually is the liar and deceiving everybody? Oh, this would be kind of like Captain Kuro, right? Because back in Syrup Village, Captain Kuro was the one who told everybody that Usopp was a liar and that you shouldn't believe him. Huh. The parallel will go kind of crazy here, huh? I wonder if that's what he's going to get to, by the way. Usopp is known for his lies, and I believe his conversation with Jarl is hinting that maybe he is also lying. Jarl says Nami is a beauty, but then says his type is older women, contradicting himself. Drunk Usopp might be accidentally catching him lying. Ooh, wait a minute, that's true. Well, even though your preference in women is different, you can still admire a beauty, right? Like, even if it's not your type, like, I'm trying to think. What's a good example nowadays? I don't really have one. I was about to say Zendaya, but I don't like Zendaya, bro. I hate Zendaya. Oh, makes me mad just thinking about her. So they go on and say there's been hints throughout the arc that not everything is as it seems regarding Harold's death. Why is there a summoning circle in the castle prior to the Holy Knights arriving? Why did the Holy Knights ask Shamrock if he's visiting Harold's grave? They speak about Harold very highly, that he was honorable and peaceful. And when you look at the portrait, he is frowning and looks very angry. The Giants have two ideologies, the traditional warriors and the New Age scholars. Maybe the rift between the factions fueled a hidden conflict. I'm excited. Oda is using this setup, and the subtle hints will reveal what is really going on here sooner or later. Oda is the GOAT and is cooking big time. Yeah, I agree. I think the Usopp Loki parallels run pretty hard. I mean, even with Loki having Ragnir, right? Ragnir, this crazy giant black hammer, that's Usopp's shtick. You know, back in the day, Usopp always used to use hammers, right? The 10-ton hammer, the 100-ton hammer, the 1-ton hammer, 5-ton hammer. Even against Chu, his first major opponent outside of Syrup Village, he beat him with the hammer. So I kind of love that the parallels do run deep. And of course, Usopp was just never believed because of his prior shenanigans as a kid. So I do think, and I do agree that that is what's happening with Loki. And I'm just kind of curious to see how this is going to be corrected. Because Jarl, the guy who accused Loki of being the guy who killed King Harold, he doesn't seem bad. Like, I feel like if Jarl really is setting up Loki, it might just be by accident because he has a sword running through his head. Like, the guy literally has a sword going through his brain, so maybe he's just, like, bumbling his memories a little bit. Maybe he just woke up, saw Loki standing over King Harold, and he said, he did it, right? Like, I just can't imagine Jarl being the big bad villain right now. And the reason why, too, is because he's not exactly strong, which sounds weird, right? Like, not every villain has to be strong, but, like, I just think back to Jarl, his giant counterpart, right? Because all these giants run in pairs. Jarl died to, like, 8-year-old Big Mom. Yeah, Big Mom is scary, but Jarl is a giant, you know? Like, Jarl is a guy. I don't know. I 100% agree, but I just don't know how Jarl really fits into this. I think he's just dumb. I think he's just dumb. But that's a really great comment. Like this one says, great comment, great comment. I hope Usopp drinking too much leads to a moment of courage referencing great warrior dreams. A play on the term liquid courage when you're drunk. Yes. Funny enough, you know, when I read the spoilers, this wasn't my mindset. You know, I saw the spoilers and I was like, like Usopp, he needs to sober up. You know, like we need Usopp in the game. But now that I saw the chapter and I saw Usopp yelling at Dory, I saw Usopp slapping Jarl's sword and Usopp talking about which women's your favorite. It's like, ooh, maybe this is the Usopp we need. You know, maybe we do need drunk Usopp here in Elbaf to clean up the house. And I'm just wondering, like, what could he provide, right? I don't think, well, okay, it's not Naruto, so he's not like Rock Lee, you know, getting drunk and getting stronger. But I do think that maybe Usopp just tackles everything with courage. Like you said, liquid courage, right? Maybe he sees Shamrock. And where in reality, Usopp would be running, saying, I don't want to fight this guy. Maybe instead, Usopp says, hey, I'll teach you a lesson, old man. I'll fight you, Shanks, because you took away my daddy. You know, maybe he thinks Shamrock is Shanks. That'd be pretty funny, right? Because they look identical, and then Usopp's drunk, so maybe he, like, you know, sees double, or, like, he doesn't know what's happening. Like, oh, like, Shanks, where's my dad? Like, where's Usopp, man? That'd be pretty cool. I would love that. This next comment says, Loki is this arc's. They will join the crew person, bro, every arc. And here's the thing, man. I don't blame people when this happens. I mean, if you've been around in One Piece, this has been brought up every single arc. Back at Fishman Island, it was Jinbei, Kami, and Hachi. And then we go over to Punk Hazard. It was Monet. It was Law, which Law actually ended up becoming somewhat true, but that was crazy. Right? Monet was crazy, right? You know, people saw Monet and they were like, oh, we need another girl. Monet's really smart. Maybe she can help out Robin. That was a big thing back in the day, right? And then plus she was a Logia, which we don't have in the crew yet. And then, you know, we go over to Dressrosa. They said, Rebecca, you know, Rebecca's young. You know, she's a swordsman. Oh my God, Zoro could train her. This would be amazing. Did not happen. Go to Zoe, we got Carrot, we go to Wano, we got Yamato. Like, you guys see where this is going, right? Like, every single arc, it is literally just, hey, is this X new character going to join the crew? And that's fair. I mean, as far as Loki goes, I do think he'd be really cool on the crew, but like the comment up here said earlier, right? Like, the parallels between Loki and Usopp are kind of deep, so I wouldn't want just like another Usopp on the crew. If Loki joined the Grand Fleet, I think that'd be amazing, but maybe just not the crew, right? And then plus, we'd have to accommodate for a giant. And not just any giant, a giant the size of oars. How would he fit on the ship? Would we like have a giant piece of wood that he just floats on? Nah, dude, I can't see it. I think he'd be too crazy. And then plus, like with how strong he's touted to be, we'd have to bring up the Monster Trio again. Like right now, we got Zoro, Sanji, and Jinbei. I mean, hell, you bring Loki in here, where does he place? You know, I always feel like Zoro will be number 2, and then Sanji's always going to be number 3. And then number 4 is now like Jinbei. But you add Loki into the mix, it's like, you know, like the hierarchy's crazy, man. It's crazy. Next one says, wild theory. He did not eat the fruit. The hammer did. That's why Hardin tried to stop him from picking it up. It's a mythical Zoan, so it has its own personality, which is why the other giants couldn't just take it away from him, which is why they wrapped him along with his sword in the chains. I'm assuming you meant hammer here, but yeah, that could be the case. I saw somebody have a really good theory too. So like in Norse mythology, or I guess just like MCU, that's like what I closely reference right now, but like Thor's hammer, right? It always comes back to him. You can't really separate it. You can't move it. So maybe that's why they locked him up with the hammer. Maybe they could not pick it up. They couldn't, you know, throw it away because it would just come right back to Loki. So I do agree. I think this is a great theory. And I think in a way, Oda kind of set this up with how Loki still has a chain on his foot, right? He has the chain on his foot, so it's like, oh, Loki's not going to use his devil fruit here. It's impossible. But if the hammer is the one that has the devil fruit, then it's no big deal. You know, the chain on Loki's leg? Ah, dude, just a regular chain at that point. Yeah, no, I really enjoy this theory. And I'm kind of curious to see how the Shamrock versus Loki fight would go if this is the case. Like, imagine Loki says, hey, hammer, you fight Shamrock's sword, I'm gonna fight Shamrock, like master versus master, and then sword versus sword, or sword versus hammer. Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting. Next comment says, and Zunisha would be the best fire truck for Elbaf. Oh, you're right, yeah? Yeah, because Zunisha would just really easily put out all of the flames because they're just shooting a giant, massive stream of water at it. Yeah, dude, Zunisha... Here's the thing. It's funny you bring up Zunisha and fire, because I remember back during Onigashima, when the castle or Onigashima was set ablaze, everybody was like, oh, like Zunisha's gonna put it out. Zunisha's right there. Zunisha could easily just solve our problems, but Zunisha didn't. It was Raizo and Jinbei, which Jinbei makes sense, but Raizo, you know what I mean? Like imagine Elbaf catches on fire and this same thing happens where it's like, oh, Zunisha's gonna come, and then just Raizo does it instead. Like, I don't know. I just think that's funny. I still think back to this one moment. I'm like, bro, Zunisha was right there. Like, I get it. Raizo W, but still. This one says, to me, the mural is about the past and the future at the same time. There may be many parallels between both of them. Oh, so you're saying like the lightning hit the Atom Tree in the past, but it's also possibly going to hit the Atom Tree in the future? I could see that. It's not bad. I just really wish that we knew like concretely what timeline the mural was in. I still think it's the third world, but I do also agree that it could just be mixed, right? We could have the third world on the left side and then the first or second world on the right side, but now it's kind of weird because like one world is like left out in a weird way. I don't know. One day we're gonna have to go back to this. I think we need Robin. You know, I think we need Robin to check this out, right? Because we got Frankie, and Frankie's only real input is, what the hell is this? You know, what are with these people who don't look like giants? And it's like, okay, like that's our reaction, but let's get an expert in here, right? Let's bring Robin to the scene. This next comment says, Gideon's abilities are normally fire or lightning based. So the new God Knights, Kittingham, may look goofy, but his powers are literally sounding like Treasure Tree atoms only 2 weaknesses. Yeah. I mean, same with Luffy, right? Like, Luffy can pick up lightning. Luffy also sets himself ablaze as well. And then now we have Loki, who has Thor's hammer, and it's even called Iron Thunder. So it's like, ugh, like, does it have lightning abilities, right? And then you have all the giants worshiping the sun god, which is all fire related. Hardin wanted the fire Logia fruit. So it's like, dude, fire, it just kind of gravitates towards Elbaf at this point, man. It really does. And then, of course, like, we have the mural, which had the Arc Maxim, or a flying ship, in the background. So it's like, well, I know it doesn't make sense, but I mean, even a Nell could come in here and he would cause a problem. Like, at this point, it kind of just sounds easy to take down the Atom Tree, right? Like, you want to kill the giants, just set the tree on fire from the base, I guess. Is that possible? Wait, that would be the worst, right? Because if it's a branch, you can cut the branch off. But if the tree catches fire from the bottom, from the base, the tree's done. You can't cut that off. Actually, now that I think about it, the Atom Tree here in Elbaf looks really weird, right? It has like a layer in the middle, and it kind of looks like somebody cut the tree in the middle in the past. Maybe in the past, the tree caught fire up top, and they had to cut the tree in half to stop the blaze. That'd be interesting. Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting. Big Mom, wielding both fire and lightning. Look, another character, fire and lightning, bro. Like, Elbaf is a really easy place to take down. I feel like more people have fire abilities than not. Well, okay, that's a stretch, but fire abilities are pretty common, is what I'm trying to say. This one says, Elbaf is peak, bruh. Loki is my goat. Loki's cool. This one says, Gerd and Sanji going somewhere now, just like Ripley and Gabon 20 years ago. Here's a question for you guys. If you had to pick, gun to your head, your family all just lined up in the living room, about to be executed. If you had to pick one to save them, who would you pick? Gerd or Pudding? I like Gerd. I just don't know how we're gonna get around the size thing. I know Scopper did. Scopper definitely got around the size issue, but and then another problem arises where you can't hold your son in your arms, you're gonna die while your wife and kid go on. I don't know. I think I'd just pick Pudding. I think Pudding might be the way to go, especially for Sanji, right? They even had their first kiss, bro. Oh my god, yeah. I think Sanji and Pudding need to be a thing. And then plus, like, Pudding is captured by Blackbeard, so if Sanji learns about that, it'd be pretty cool too. But Sanji is a ladies' man, so maybe he gets all the women. Dude, imagine, ooh. Okay, this is just like Sanji gassing right now, but imagine Sanji gets a woman from each and every tribe. Yeah, like Sanji's love doesn't discriminate like the Celestial Dragons. That'd be good. That'd be good. This one says, that hammer is going straight for the remaining restraint 100%. Yeah, the hammer breaking Seastone will be nuts. Because if I recall correctly, Seastone has never been broken outright in this series before, so that would be insane, and I would love it. I think, I don't know, like, we're giving Loki all the feats now. He's being gassed up by the giants, you know, we got the monster trio here on the bottom floor to face him. Like, oh, dude, if he breaks the restraints on top of everything, I don't know. Okay, so the next comment says, I think Loki's hammer might have the legendary devil fruit that he stole, meaning leaving the cuffs on him won't do anything. Yeah, I'm starting to believe this more and more, and I'm glad people kind of have this idea as well. Like, I think that's really cool. Next one says, I believe the reason why Loki smiled malevolently after being partially freed and holding Ragnar is because it symbolizes his readiness to unleash chaos and destruction. Yeah, love for the game, fueled by his resentment towards his captors, hidden ambition for power, and confidence in wielding Ragnar's immense strength. This moment serves as a critical foreshadowing of future conflicts in the Elbaf arc and highlights the complexity of Loki's character as more than just a victim, but potentially a dangerous force in the story moving forward. Oh yeah, in my opinion, like, the minute we heard about Loki being chained up and being stronger than all the giants here, or the fact that it took all the giants to lock him up, and then we even see like a giant that looks like him in the mural, I'm like, yeah, this guy's he gives off main character energy 100%. Lightning and fire. You mean Big Mom's power system? Got it. We have to deal with Big Mom again? I don't think we're gonna have to deal with Big Mom again, personally, but I do think that Big Mom is still alive. I think Big Mom will come back, but I just don't know if it's gonna be an Elbaf. I feel like that might be too soon, but you gotta admit, like, a lot of Big Mom's story would go, you know, full circle if she did show back up here. And, you know, she could be Loki again. Maybe we could even get some more Mother Carmel lore, or maybe Big Mom knows something about King Harold even, right? Because Big Mom was there, what, like 60 years ago or 60 plus years ago? Yeah, you know, I like Big Mom. You know, as much as people make fun of Big Mom, I think she does have a lot of potential story-wise. Power-wise, you know, I feel like I'm kind of burnt out of the soul thing, but I'm excited for Big Mom. Yeah, bring her back. You know what? If they do bring her back, I think it would be cool if it was in the cover page story with Yamato and the gang. Like, imagine we end off the Yamato cover page story with, you know, Big Mom and Kaido raising out of the sea or something. Something silly. I want to remind you that Zoro is not actually stupid. Sometimes he acts funny, but that's comic relief. Zoro is easily the most dependable Straw Hat. He may not always be the sharpest, but by no means is he the dumbest. Oh yeah, no, I agree. I don't think Zoro's dumb. It's just that when I look at Zoro, I don't exactly think of Fred from Scooby-Doo, you know, over here coming up with plans and, you know, backup traps. It's like, oh, like Zoro's doing that in this chapter in a way. He's like really thinking things through. I mean, dude, go back to Egghead. It took him like a solid chapter and a half to realize that the Seraphim are Lunarians. You know, it took him a minute to realize that they had the same weakness as the only black-skinned, white-haired, black-winged guy that he fought, like, last week. So that's why, like, Zoro just, like you said it, right? Zoro's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's not dumb. And that's why this chapter is really impressive to me. I really do want to give Zoro credit where credit's due. I think, you know, this chapter, I think it boosted him up, like, 10 points in my mind. Theory. The old woman is Misha Mosha. Wait, what? Misha Mosha. The woman Mosa. You said Misha Mosha. I was like, who was that? The woman talking to Loki on the Den in Mushi, and why she's in hiding, and why the government wants her. Jarl wants her. I don't know the details. Okay. Yeah, I've seen people talk about Mosha being the older woman, and I don't think that's bad, because we haven't met Mosha. But the problem, I said Mosha now. Oh my God, you got me. We haven't met Mosa yet, but the problem with Mosa is that we also don't know the gender. Like, it could be a guy, but it could also be a girl. It's like the Emu thing, right? Like, Emu could be a guy, could be a girl. We don't really know yet. But yeah, it would be interesting if Mosa was the older woman that Jarl's been looking for. And I just really do wonder where Mosa's at. My current theory is that, you know, last chapter we saw Scopper, Luffy, Zoro fight, and like a tower fell from the castle. I think that if Mosa was hidden somewhere here in Elbaf, it might have been in that castle tower. Like maybe they were trapped up there like a princess, even though Mosa shouldn't be a princess. I think Mosa got the title of Duke. But yeah, that's my theory. I think this is cool. I wouldn't mind that at all. And, you know, this just shows that it's never too late to meet the love of your life. Never give up, guys. This one says, my prediction is that Loki will use his weapon, the Ragnir, to destroy the ankle cuff, and that's why he's smiling so hard at the end. Zoro's plan will backfire because Loki needed all those chains for a reason. Also, Loki is probably taller than most giants. He's huge. Yes. I'm trying to think, like, Ragnir. Huh. What if the reason why Loki had sea stone chains was not even for himself, but for Ragnir? Because when Loki's chained up like this, right, the hammer is right behind him. It's also chained. So maybe they just did a 2-for-1 special and chained them both up. I think that's what it is. I mean, of course, that's what it has to be, right? If this ends up being true. Yeah. Not bad. This one says, gonna be hearing thunderstruck when Loki picks the weapon up. Yeah, dude, imagine he has his own soundtrack. That'd be super cool. I think more characters need their own soundtracks, by the way. Now that we have Luffy with the Nika soundtrack, dude, give other people like drums or guitars of liberation. Maybe we'll even see somebody with the maracas of liberation. Yeah, that'd be cool. This one says, very interesting how Kaido's signature ability, the one that got the best possible animation from Toei, was 3000 Worlds Ragnarok. Yep, and all the purple lightning conquers Aki remaining from the blast. Even more interesting, knowing now how similar Kaido is to King Harold. Yes. Also, wanted to point out that I guarantee you Loki is going to see himself in Luffy. Although they have different personalities, they fundamentally have the same morals. The way Luffy wouldn't dare to eat the animals. Yep, we saw these parallels in the very beginning. And then, of course, Loki called himself the Sun God, which Luffy actually is. They say, I guarantee you that Loki is going to befriend Luffy. Yep, and it's going to come in a colossal ass whooping that Luffy is going to give Loki. Loki might be strong, sure, but Luffy, let's be real, Sai, if Shanks could solo him with ease 6 years ago, then there's no universe where Luffy, the one who, let's be honest, did 95% of the damage to Kaido, will beat him. And yeah, I totally agree with all of this. You know, I mean, we talked about the Luffy and Loki friendship in the past and how many similarities they even have. Of course, the whole Kaido thing. Another thing with Kaido as well, by the way, is the fact that Kaido used a giant attack with Big Mom. Right, they use the Hakwaku sovereignty that Dory and Brogy also use. But the thing is, you know, for Big Mom, she grew up in Elbaf. It makes sense. As far as Kaido, you know, maybe it has to do with that King Harold thing, man. Maybe it does. They say, and the biggest thing that nobody is mentioning, Luffy is completely immune to lightning attacks. He can straight up manipulate lightning with his bare hands. So Luffy is Loki's hard counter, yes. The only problem with this would be if Loki like imbues lightning with Haki or something silly, or like the hammer just has like Haki on it in general. That would also be pretty crazy. And then plus hammers are blunt as well. Like Luffy's main weakness is slash attacks still to this very day, but now that, you know, Loki has a hammer and hammers do blunt damage, Luffy's just gonna tank it for the most part. Unless, of course, like I said, it's coated in Haki. They go on to say the only way this fight is even remotely close is if Loki has high level Conqueror's Haki, yep, and that even then, his Conqueror's Haki has to be stronger than Kaido at bare minimum. Yeah, that's not happening, period. There's no hacks or special gimmicks that Loki has where he can legitimately hurt Luffy. None. Luffy is the definition of hacks, and this is going to be Oda's best way of showcasing how Luffy is legitimately a Yonko of the Sea now, because everyone wanted to downplay Luffy versus Kizaru, which I still think Luffy absolutely claps Kizaru if he's going all out, which he couldn't, because that would risk destroying the entirety of Egghead by himself. All I know is the fight is going to be legendary. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with all this. I don't think Loki's going to be an easy fight, though. I mean, of course, I believe that Luffy will win if they fight, but I don't think it's going to be easy. I think this is definitely going to be, like, high, extreme. Like, I don't want to downplay Loki based on how little we know about him right now. But, I mean, everything you said, though, yeah, I completely agree. We talked about this beforehand, but Kaido, King Herald, all the similarities, Luffy and Loki being right there. And then plus, like, as far as Luffy and Loki being allies, like, we got the mural, right? In the mural, we saw Nika fighting alongside a giant that looked like Loki. So, yeah, their friendship, it's literally written in the cards, or written in the stars, they say, or written in the trees. One of those. This one says, half-brother. Step is no blood relation. Yeah, I got that mixed up. I called Harden and Loki stepbrothers, but yeah, they're half brothers. The problem is that I've never had to say half brother before, whereas stepbrother, that's a common thing, you know. You step siblings, you go across the street, you find like 5 of them right there. But half brothers, that's a little bit harder. This one says, I was thinking, what woman do you like? Was a fourth wall Toto JJK reference. Yeah, and then plus, like, if you see all of Oda's SBS questions, there was literally one in volume 111 where Oda says that he's responsible for a majority of gooners in this generation. So yeah, Oda's all about that, man. He's all about that. Like, I like to imagine this was just Oda asking a question to the audience, really. He wanted to get us talking so that he can get some insight as to what kind of woman he should cook up next in the series. Lightning being Elbaf's weakness is the biggest hint about Enel's return that Oda could give us. I mean, that plus the mural, bro. Like, the mural is crazy. Like, the mural with the lightning and then we had the flying ship. Yeah, I think Enel is primed for a return. And then the thing with Enel too, the guy's on the moon, right? He's on the moon. He sees what people believe to be ancient weapon depictions up there as well. And then, of course, like, we heard about the Moon Clan, right? The half moons. It's like, okay, if the moon's gonna come back in any significant way, it's gotta be with Enel, the guy who's literally up there. But yeah, I love it, dude. Thank you guys so much for being here. I freaking appreciate it. You know, thank you for all the comments as well. I mean, it's all about the discussion. Oh my God, my mic. It's all about the discussion. So I love seeing what you guys are always thinking about. I love the theories. And yeah, I never know how to end these videos. It's always the same way, right? Like, thank you guys. Let me see here. I'm trying to think what happened today in my life. Monster Hunter Wilds. Yeah, that game came out. Love it. I don't know if you guys like play games here. Like, I feel like anime and gaming, it's like, it's very transferable, right? If you play games, you watch anime. If you watch anime, you play games. But yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds, a freaking 1. I gotta say this though, man. I don't like sandy areas, and sandy area is like the first map you get in the game, but it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. But with that being said, though, guys, catch y'all later. Thank you so much for being here again, and peace out.